If you think that being called the cleanest city in India means you're safe, then think again. News broke out yesterday in Indore, the city that's won that award 8 years in a row. People have been drinking sewage-contaminated water. And yes, some of them died from it. It's reported that so far, 10 people have lost their lives due to this sewage-contaminated water. That sounds like a plot twist from a bad movie, but no, this is real life. And it's happening right now, in the so-called cleanest city in India. If this is the cleanest city in India, then I don't even want to know what the rest of the country is doing. People in the Bhagirathpura area started noticing something was very wrong in mid-December 2025. Foul-smelling, discolored tap water that tasted awful and made people sick. But instead of fixing it, officials seemed to treat it like a suggestion box complaint. And then things got terrible. Hundreds of residents suffered from vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and dehydration, classic signs of waterborne disease. Hospitals saw huge influxes of patients. Some reports put the number of people who fell seriously ill at over 1,400, with hundreds hospitalized. And the death toll, even that is disputed. Officials confirmed at least 4 deaths, but the mayor said he had information about 10 deaths, including infants, and locals claimed the number could be as high as 14. A lab test finally confirmed what everyone feared: sewage had leaked into the drinking water supply. How did that happen? A toilet was built right above a main water pipeline without a septic tank, a basic safety measure. The result was raw sewage mixing with potable water people trusted. Now let's just pause for a second. This isn't a remote village with no infrastructure and a single hole that everyone uses to defecate. This is a city that literally wins awards for cleanliness. But all that shines and sparkles on the surface doesn't mean the systems underneath are safe or cared for. It's a classic concoction of corruption, lack of understanding and care for hygiene, and just straight up cutting corners during construction and planning. But here's what makes this much worse. Officials had months of complaints about bad water quality. Around 266 formal water quality complaints in 2025 alone, with 23 in the affected zone, Bhagirathpura. Yet files for pipeline repairs sat on desks for months, barely touched, held up in bureaucracy and delay. Engineers were assigned to investigate, but only a handful of 16 assigned cases were resolved. Some files were literally marked complete with no actual fix done. That's not incompetence, that's negligence. And it cost lives. One local councillor said the water pipeline repairs should have started almost a year ago. A file was prepared in November 2024 but didn't move until late December 2025, right when deaths began being reported. That seems to be the norm in India. Only act after everything has already happened. Monsoon defenses are outdated and crumbling, but we can just fix them after people have died and the entire town has flooded. And yes, this issue isn't unique to Indore. Water contamination is a nationwide problem in India. Groundwater surveys found over half of tested samples nationwide exceed safe limits for things like nitrates, bacteria, and heavy metals, long before these sewage leaks ever happened. And remember earlier this year, a sample test was done in the Ganges River. It showed that there was 1,400 times the acceptable amount of coliform bacteria found in the river. That's fecal bacteria, if anyone is wondering. Their most holy river is filled with waste. Tests along multiple stretches of the Ganges have repeatedly found coliform bacteria levels tens, hundreds, and sometimes thousands of times above what is considered safe for bathing, let alone drinking. A clear sign that the river is heavily contaminated with human and animal waste. Coliforms themselves aren't always deadly, but they act as biological warning lights. If they're present in huge numbers, it means disease-causing pathogens like E. coli, cholera, typhoid, and hepatitis viruses are likely there too. In many urban stretches near cities like Kanpur, Varanasi, and Patna, counts have reached millions of colony-forming units per 100 milliliters, when safe limits for bathing water are typically a few hundred. This pollution didn't appear by accident. It comes from untreated sewage dumped directly into the river, overflowing drains, industrial effluents, open defecation along the banks, livestock waste, and even ritual practices that place partially cremated bodies and organic matter into the water. The result is a river that is spiritually revered but biologically overloaded, where the presence of extreme coliform levels tells a blunt story of systemic failure in sanitation, enforcement, and governance, not just environmental neglect. So, what do we call this? Bad luck? Anomalies? No. When people complained about dirty water and got silence in return, that's a failure of the system. A system that values shiny trophies over real safety. A system where visibility matters, not accountability. We applaud spotless streets, but ignore deadly pipelines. The thin veneer of cleanliness is exposed as soon as you take a peek behind the brown curtains. It's a hallmark of the Indian government, and Modi in particular. His Clean India mission is just a ruse, as people continue to openly defecate and urinate, spit on the floor, litter everywhere, and do many other horrible things. And let's talk about transparency and trust. When members of the public, doctors, even opposition politicians raise red flags, the first reaction is often to deny, delay, or downplay. Different numbers for deaths, conflicting official statements, delayed data releases. This is not how you manage a crisis. Transparency isn't a suggestion. It's a necessity when people's health is at stake. The National Human Rights Commission has now issued a notice to the state government asking for detailed explanations about how this disaster unfolded. That tells you how serious this looks from outside the local administration. And the political blame game? It's already in full swing. Some leaders are calling it a shameful failure of governance, questioning why a city so highly ranked for cleanliness could let sewage mix with drinking water in the first place. That's the bitter irony here. A city showcased for cleanliness but fatally blind to what really matters. Public health, infrastructure maintenance, responsive governance. Look, medals and rankings are nice on a wall, but they don't keep your children safe when they drink a glass of brown water from the tap. We can dress up a city in accolades and shiny slogans all day long, but real progress means protecting people's lives. Real action means listening, acting fast, fixing long-standing infrastructure problems instead of ignoring them. So let's ask the real question. Does your city care more about looking clean or actually being clean? India must tackle this problem head-on and face the truth. That large part of their country lacks any sort of understanding of hygiene. Only by facing the truth can they actually educate themselves and build a better, cleaner nation.